Captain Kim Dae-hyun was drinking his morning coffee when the alarms started screaming. The coffee cup fell from his hands as he rushed to the control room of the Earth Defense Station. His crew was already at their posts, staring at the screens, with wide eyes. "What do we have?" Dae-hyun asked, sliding into his command chair. "Unknown ships, Captain," said Lieutenant Park Sumi. 7 vessels, moving slowly toward Earth. They're big, really big. Dae-hyun looked at the main screen. The ships were unlike anything he had ever seen. They looked like floating cities made of silver and crystal. Each one was the size of a small moon. They moved through space without any visible engines, drifting like giant jellyfish in the ocean. "Any weapons?" Dae-hyun asked. "We can't tell, sir, but they're not acting hostile. They're sending us a message." The main screen changed. A face appeared that made everyone in the room go quiet. It was clearly not human. The being had smooth blue skin, 4 eyes arranged in a diamond pattern, and what looked like small tentacles where a human would have hair. When it spoke, the words came out in perfect English, though the voice sounded like music. "Greetings, people of Earth. I am Ambassador Veltar of the Galactic Coalition. We come in peace and friendship. We request permission to speak with your leaders about a matter of great importance to your survival." Dae-hyun felt his stomach drop. Survival? That didn't sound good. Within hours, the meeting was arranged. President Oh Tae-wan, Dr. Park Min-ho, and Engineer Lee Sora joined the video call from the capital. Dae-hyun stayed on the defense station, watching everything unfold. Ambassador Veltar appeared on screen again, this time joined by 6 other alien beings. Each one looked completely different. One had scales like a snake, another had fur and cat-like eyes, and a third looked like it was made of living rock. It was like a scene from a dream. "Thank you for meeting with us," Veltar said. "We know. This must be surprising for your people. First contact is always a special moment." President Oh Tae-hwan leaned forward. "You said something about our survival. What did you mean?" The alien's 4 eyes blinked slowly. "Your world is in great danger. You live in a part of space that attracts the attention of the devourers. They are coming, and when they arrive, they will consume everything on your planet." Dr. Park Min-ho, Earth's top scientist who studied life, spoke up. "What are these devourers?" Another alien answered this time. It was the one with scales. "They are living ships, creatures the size of your cities that eat entire worlds. They strip away the air, the water, the plants, the animals, everything. They leave behind only dead rock floating in space." Engineer Lee Sora crossed her arms. "How do you know they're coming here?" "Because they always follow the same patterns," Veltar explained. "Your solar system sits near 3 major space trade routes. The devourers hunt along these routes, looking for planets full of life. Earth is exactly what they want." The room fell silent. Dae-hyun could feel the weight of the news settling on everyone. An enemy that ate entire planets was coming to Earth. "But we offer hope," Veltar continued. "The Galactic Coalition has protected civilizations for thousands of years. We can protect Earth, too." "What would that mean?" President O asked. "You would become members of our coalition. We would station our defense fleets around your world. Our technology would shield you from the devourers. Your people would be safe." It sounded too good to be true. Dr. Park seemed to think so, too. "What do you want in return?" "Very little," the rock-like alien said. "Only 40% of your planet's resources each year. Food, metals, energy, whatever your world produces. And you would need to follow coalition safety rules for your own protection." Lee Sora raised an eyebrow. 40%? That's a lot. "It is the cost of staying alive," Veltar said simply. "Every member world pays this price. It is much better than being dead." President O asked the question everyone was thinking. "What if we refuse?" The aliens looked at each other. The cat-like one spoke for the first time. Then the devourers will come, and Earth will become another dead world. We have seen it happen many times. No planet can fight them alone. Daehyun watched as the humans absorbed this information. The aliens seemed confident that Earth would accept their offer. Why wouldn't they? It was protection or death. But something bothered him about the whole situation. These aliens had ships the size of moons, technology that could travel between stars, and weapons that could fight planet-eating monsters. Yet they talked about the devourers like they were a force of nature, something to hide from rather than defeat. Dr. Park was asking more questions. Can we see your data on these devourers? Their attack patterns? Their capabilities? Of course, Veltar said. We will share everything. You will see why protection is your only choice. The meeting went on for 2 more hours. The aliens showed videos of devourer attacks. Massive living ships that looked like gigantic insects descended on planets. They had mouths that could swallow cities and tentacles that reached down from space to grab resources. The coalition fleets that fought them seemed to focus on evacuating people rather than destroying the creatures. When the meeting ended, the humans were left to discuss among themselves. The aliens waited patiently in their ships, confident that Earth would make the smart choice. Daehyun stayed in his command chair thinking. Something didn't add up. If the coalition was so powerful, why did they always run from the devourers? Why did they never seem to win a real victory? Captain, Lieutenant Park Sumi said, interrupting his thoughts. The aliens are sending us their data files now. Dr. Park wants our computers to analyze everything. Good, Daehyun said. Let's see what these devourers are really about. As the data flowed into Earth's systems, Daehyun had a feeling they were about to learn something the aliens didn't expect them to understand. Humans had a habit of looking at problems differently than everyone else. The question was, would they like what they found? 3 days later, the meeting room in Geneva was packed with Earth's best minds. Dr. Park Min-ho had spent those days studying every piece of data the aliens gave them. His eyes were red from lack of sleep, but his mind was sharp. Tell us what. You found, President O said. Dr. Park activated the large screen at the front of the room. Images of the Galactic Coalition appeared. The Coalition has 847 member species across the galaxy. Every single one joined when they were about to be destroyed by the Devourers. Engineer Lee Sora looked up from her tablet. Every single one? Every one, Dr. Park confirmed. I went through their historical records. The pattern is always the same. The Devourers show up, the Coalition offers protection, the species joins, and then they contribute resources forever. Admiral Yang Seo-hun, Earth's highest military commander, frowned. Forever? The average membership is 2,000 years. Some species have been paying for 5,000 years. None have ever become independent again. The room grew quiet. Historian Choi Ji-won spoke up. That's not protection. That's control, Lee Sora finished. It's a protection racket. Ambassador Veltar had requested another meeting for this afternoon. The aliens were getting impatient with how long humans were taking to decide. Most species, they said, accepted protection within hours of learning about the Devourers. Dr. Park continued his presentation. I studied their military records too. The Coalition has the largest fleet in the galaxy. Millions of ships, advanced weapons, technology that can move faster than light. But look at this. The screen showed battle footage from Devourer attacks. The Coalition ships were fast and well-armed, but they never seemed to fight to win. They would swoop in, fire a few shots, evacuate civilians, and then retreat. They're not trying to destroy the Devourers, Admiral Yang observed. They're just managing them. Exactly, Dr. Park said. In 3,000 years of fighting, the Coalition has never destroyed a single Devourer completely. They wound them, slow them down, drive them away, but never kill them. Lee Sora had been quiet, working on her own analysis. Now she looked up with a strange expression. I've been studying the technology samples they gave us. Their weapons are designed wrong. Wrong how? President O asked. Their energy weapons have built-in limiters. They can't fire at full power. Their missiles are programmed to wound, not destroy. It's like they're deliberately fighting with one hand tied behind their back. The pieces were starting to form a picture that no one in the room liked. Choi Ji-won pulled up more historical data. I looked at the social structure of coalition member worlds. After a few generations of protection, they stop maintaining their own militaries. They become completely dependent on the coalition for defense. They lose the ability to fight for themselves, Admiral Yang said grimly. Dr. Park nodded. And here's the strangest part. I found biological samples in their data from devourer attacks. These creatures show signs of genetic modification. Someone has been changing them, making them stronger, directing their attacks. The room fell silent. The implication was clear, but no one wanted to say it out loud. President O finally spoke. Are you suggesting that the coalition is controlling the devourers? I'm suggesting we need to ask them some very direct questions, Dr. Park replied. When Ambassador Veltar appeared on the screen that afternoon, his 4 eyes seemed to study the human faces carefully. Have you reached a decision? Time is running short. Our scouts report devourer movement in nearby systems. President O leaned forward. We have some questions first. In 3,000 years, why has the coalition never destroyed the devourers completely? The alien's tentacles twitched slightly. The devourers are too powerful. We can only hope to contain them, to limit the damage they cause. But you have millions of ships, Admiral Yang said. Surely concentrated fire could destroy even a creature that large. You do not understand, the cat-like alien from before spoke up. The devourers are not just large. They are evolved for survival. They adapt to any weapon used against them. Lee Sora activated her tablet. We noticed something interesting about your weapons technology. Why do your energy weapons have power limiters? The aliens exchanged glances. Veltar's voice became slightly less musical. Our weapons are designed for maximum efficiency and minimal collateral damage. Minimal damage to what? Dr. Park asked. You're fighting in empty space most of the time. The cosmic environment must be preserved, the rock-like alien said, but it sounded like he was making it up. Choi Ji-won asked the next question. Why do member species never regain independence? Even after thousands of years, they still need protection? Because the threat never ends, Veltar said. The devourers are eternal. Without constant vigilance, any world could fall. How convenient, Lee Sora muttered. The alien heard her. What do you mean by that? President O took over. We mean that you have a perfect system. You save species from destruction, they pay you forever, and they never become strong enough to question you. Veltar's 4 eyes narrowed. You are suggesting something very dangerous, humans. The coalition has kept peace in the galaxy for millennia. By keeping everyone weak and afraid, Admiral Yang said, the aliens began talking among themselves in their own languages. Finally, Veltar looked back at the humans. We came here to save your species. We are offering you life instead of death. Why are you questioning our motives? Dr. Park stepped forward. Because we found genetic markers in the devourer samples you provided. Someone has been modifying these creatures. Someone has been directing their attacks. The silence stretched for a long moment. Finally, the cat-like alien spoke. You are making a terrible mistake. Without our protection, Earth will be consumed within a year. Maybe, President O said. Or maybe we'll find a better solution than hiding behind protectors, who need the monsters to exist. Veltar's image flickered with what might have been anger. No species has ever refused our protection and survived. Then we'll be the first, Admiral Yang said simply. The alien connection cut off abruptly. The humans were left staring at a blank screen. Well, Lee Sora said after a moment, I guess we're on our own. Good, Admiral Yang replied. I never liked the idea of paying bullies to keep other bullies away. President O stood up. We need to prepare for war, but not the kind the coalition expects. Dr. Park was already thinking ahead. If the Devourers are controlled, then they have weaknesses. Real weaknesses, not just the ones the coalition pretends to exploit. Time to find out what humans can do when we stop asking for permission, Admiral Yang said. Outside, the alien ships still waited in Earth's orbit, but their message had changed. They were no longer offering protection, they were promising consequences. General Kang Min-seo had never seen the war room so busy. Officers from every branch of Earth's military worked around the clock, analyzing data and running simulations. Coffee cups and food containers covered every surface. Sleep was a luxury no one could afford. Show me the Devourer attack patterns again, Kang said to Captain Bei Jiho, who was running the tactical analysis. The holographic display in the center of the room lit up, showing a three-dimensional map of known Devourer attacks over the past 1,000 years. Red dots marked destroyed worlds, yellow dots showed damaged planets, and blue lines traced the creature's movement patterns. They're not random, Bei said, pointing at the display. Look at this. The Devourers always attack along the same space, routes. They follow predictable schedules, and they never attack Coalition core worlds. Dr. Song Yuna, the behavioral psychologist brought in to study Coalition member species, looked up from her research. That's not the only pattern. Look at this data on Coalition societies. Her screen showed psychological profiles of different alien civilizations. Every member species shows the same traits after joining the Coalition. Reduced aggression, increased compliance, loss of innovation in military technology. It's textbook learned helplessness. They've been trained not to fight, Kang realized. Exactly. Generation after generation of being told they can't survive on their own. Eventually they believe it. Engineer Lee Sora had taken apart every piece of Coalition technology the aliens had provided. Her workshop looked like a tornado had hit it, with alien devices scattered across multiple tables. But her eyes were bright with discovery. "General, you need to see this," she called out. Kang walked over to her workstation. On the table was what looked like a Coalition weapon, but Lee had opened it up to reveal the internal components. "This is supposed to be their most advanced energy rifle," Lee explained. "But look at this." She pointed to a small device inside. "This is a governor. It limits the weapon's power output to about 30% of what it could actually produce. Why would they do that? Because they don't want to actually win fights. They want to look like they're fighting while making sure the battle continues." Lee picked up another device. Their shield generators have the same problem. Built in. Weaknesses that ensure they'll eventually fail. Captain Bei had been listening while continuing his analysis. "General, I've run the simulations 100 times. If we fight the Devourers the way the Coalition does, we lose. But if we fight them like humans how? Total warfare. Complete destruction of the enemy. No retreating, no managing the threat. Just elimination." The simulation played on the main display. Instead of the Coalition's hit-and-run tactics, the human strategy focused on overwhelming firepower concentrated on single targets. Where Coalition forces would wound and retreat, human forces would surround and destroy. "The results are interesting," Bei continued. "Coalition tactics result in ongoing conflict with minimal casualties on both sides. Human tactics result in short, brutal conflicts with total victory." Dr. Song looked up from her psychological profiles. "That matches what I'm seeing in the social data. Humans are the first species the Coalition has encountered that doesn't respond to existential threats with submission. Most species, when faced with extinction, look for a protector. Humans look for weapons." Intelligence Director Nam Yunji had been quiet for most of the meeting, reading classified reports from Earth's spy satellites. Now she stood up with a grim expression. I have news from our deep space monitoring stations. The Coalition didn't just leave after our last conversation. They sent a message to something. We intercepted it. The room fell silent. Nam activated her screen, showing a decoded alien transmission. The message went to coordinates in the Kepler system. It was short. The humans refuse protection. Begin harvest protocol. General Kang felt his blood run cold. They're calling the Devourers. It gets worse, Nam continued. We tracked the response. 3 Devourer bioships changed course immediately after the message was sent. They're heading for Earth. Dr. Park Minho, who had been working non-stop to understand Devourer biology, suddenly looked up from his research station. I think I know why the Coalition never destroys them completely. Everyone turned to look at him. His face was pale, but his voice was steady. I've been analyzing the genetic samples from Devourer attacks. These creatures aren't natural. They're engineered. Someone created them, programmed them, and continues to control them. The Coalition, Lee Sora said. Yes, but here's the important part. The genetic programming has built-in commands. The Devourers are designed to respond to specific signals, to attack specific targets, and to leave specific areas alone. General Y. Kang understood immediately. They're weapons. The Coalition has been using them as weapons to control the galaxy. Not just weapons, Dr. Park continued. Smart weapons. Look at this. He brought up a genetic analysis on his screen. The Devourers have communication organs that can receive subspace signals. They have targeting systems that identify specific planetary signatures, and they have inhibitor genes that prevent them from attacking Coalition core worlds. Captain Bay ran a quick calculation. If they're controlled, then they have weaknesses. Real weaknesses. What kind of weaknesses? Kang asked. Dr. Park smiled for the first time in days. The same weaknesses any engineered organism has. Genetic kill switches, behavioral programming limits, and dependency on external control signals. Lee. Sora was already thinking like an engineer. If we can jam their control signals or trigger their kill switches, the Coalition's perfect weapons become sitting ducks, Captain Bay finished. Nam pulled up the latest intelligence reports. The 3 Devourers heading for Earth will arrive in 6 days. The Coalition ships are moving to observation positions. They expect to watch us get destroyed and then offer to evacuate survivors in exchange for total submission. General Kong looked around the room at Earth's best minds. They were tired, worried, but not defeated. In fact, they looked eager. Do we have enough time to prepare? Dr. Park nodded. If Lee can build signal jammers and genetic disruptors, if Bay can coordinate our attack patterns, and if our fleet can follow human military doctrine instead of Coalition doctrine, then we give the galaxy its first look at how humans really fight. Kang finished. The next 6 days would determine whether humanity joined the Coalition as another dependent species, or whether the galaxy learned why Earth had never needed protection from anyone. Get to work, General Kong ordered. Let's show these Devourers what happens when they threaten the wrong planet. For the first time since the aliens arrived, the humans in the room were smiling. The war room had become the center of Earth's universe. President Otewan stood before the main display, watching 3 massive red dots moving toward Earth. The Devourers would arrive in 18 hours. Dr. Kim Hana, Earth's top military scientist, rushed into the room carrying a silver device the size of a briefcase. The signal disruptors are ready, she announced. We can jam the Coalition's control signals over a range of 1 million kilometers. General Kang took the device and examined it. How do we know it will work? We tested it on the Coalition technology samples, Dr. Kim explained. Every piece of their equipment shut down completely when we activated the jamming field. If the Devourers use the same communication systems, they should be helpless. Commander Park Jinwoo, who would lead Earth's first space battle fleet, studied the tactical display. What about the genetic kill switches Dr. Park found? Dr. Park Minho looked exhausted but determined. We've loaded genetic disruptor warheads into every missile. If the signal jamming doesn't stop them, the disruptors should trigger their programmed death sequences. Engineer Lee Sora had spent 4 days without sleep, building new weapons based on Coalition technology, but without the built-in limiters. Our energy weapons are now operating at full capacity. No governors, no restrictions. They're 3 times more powerful than anything the Coalition uses. President O looked around the room. Are we really going to fight creatures that eat planets? We're going to kill creatures that eat planets, Admiral Chang Soo-young corrected. There's a difference. The Coalition ships had been sending increasingly desperate messages to Earth for the past 3 days. Ambassador Veltar appeared on screens throughout the planet, warning of humanity's impending doom. The Devourers cannot be defeated, he said in his latest broadcast. Every species that has tried to fight them alone has been consumed. Join the Coalition now, before it is too late. But the humans had stopped listening to Coalition warnings. They were too busy preparing for war. Captain Kim Dae-hyun commanded the orbital defense stations that would provide the first line of defense. All stations report ready, he announced. Weapons at full power, shields at maximum, crews at battle. Stations. The plan was simple in the way that all good military plans were simple. When the Devourers arrived, Earth's fleet would surround them and attack with everything they had. No retreating, no managing the threat, no evacuation procedures. Just overwhelming firepower concentrated on complete destruction. Contact in 10 minutes, Lieutenant Park Sumi reported from the sensor station. The Coalition ships had moved to what they called safe observation distance. They expected to watch Earth's destruction and then negotiate with the survivors. Ambassador Veltar had even prepared a speech about the importance of accepting protection. 5 minutes to contact. President O opened a communication channel to the entire fleet. This is your president speaking. Today we face an enemy that has terrorized the galaxy for thousands of years. The Coalition tells us these creatures cannot be defeated. They are wrong. Today, we show the galaxy what happens when predators meet humans. Contact! 3 massive shapes dropped out of hyperspace near Earth's moon. The Devourers were even larger than the Coalition data had suggested. Each one was the size of a small city, with organic armor that seemed to shift and flow like living metal. Tentacles longer than skyscrapers writhed around massive mouths filled with teeth designed to crack planets. They're beautiful, Dr. Song whispered, watching from the observation deck. They're about to be dead, Admiral Chang replied. The Devourers immediately began broadcasting signals toward Earth. But instead of the planet-wide terror broadcasts the Coalition expected, Earth's communication systems began jamming every frequency the creatures used. Dr. Kim activated her signal disruptors. Jamming field is active. All Coalition control signals are blocked. On the main display, the 3 Devourers suddenly stopped moving. They floated in space like giant balloons, their tentacles waving aimlessly. It worked, Commander Park breathed. They're confused, but General Kang wasn't taking any chances. All ships, attack now! Full power, all weapons! Earth's fleet moved with precision that surprised even the humans. Every ship had trained for this moment, but training was different from reality. The reality was that humanity's military doctrine worked exactly as designed. Energy beams more powerful than anything the Coalition had ever seen sliced into the Devourers' organic armor. Missiles loaded with genetic disruptors penetrated deep into their bodies before exploding. Rail guns fired solid projectiles at significant fractions of light speed, punching holes completely through the creatures. The first Devourer died in under 5 minutes. Its massive body convulsed once, then went still. The second lasted 7 minutes before the genetic disruptors triggered its kill switches. The third tried to retreat, but Earth's fleet had surrounded it completely. Target destroyed, Commander, Park reported. All 3 Devourers eliminated. The silence in the war room was broken by cheering that could be heard throughout the building. On Earth's orbital stations, crews hugged each other and laughed with relief. The planet-eating monsters that had terrorized the galaxy for millennia had been destroyed by humans in less than 15 minutes, but the celebration was interrupted by an emergency communication from the Coalition fleet. Ambassador Veltar appeared. On screen, and for the first time, he looked truly alien. His 4 eyes were wide with what might have been fear, and his tentacles writhed with agitation. "What have you done?" he demanded. "You have destroyed irreplaceable cosmic resources. You have upset the balance of galactic order." President O stepped forward. "We destroyed the weapons you were using to control the galaxy. You don't understand the consequences," the cat-like alien said, joining the transmission. "Without the Devourers, there will be chaos. Species will fight each other instead of working together." Admiral Chang laughed. "You mean species will be free to defend themselves instead of paying you for protection from threats you control?" "The Coalition will not stand for this aggression," Veltar warned. "You have violated galactic law." "Whose law?" General Kang asked. "The law that says only you can have effective weapons? The law that says everyone else has to live in fear?" Dr. Park stepped into view of the camera. "We know the truth about your genetic engineering program. We know you created and controlled the Devourers. We have proof." The aliens exchanged looks that humans were beginning to understand meant panic. "You will surrender the disruptor technology immediately," Veltar demanded. "No single species can be allowed to possess weapons capable of destroying Devourers." "No," President O said simply. "In fact, we're going to share this technology with every species that wants it." "That is impossible," the rock-like alien said. "The Coalition will not allow it." Admiral Chang smiled. "The Coalition will not stop it. You just lost your ability to threaten anyone. Your perfect weapons are useless against species that fight to win instead of fighting to survive." The transmission cut off abruptly. The Coalition ships began moving away from Earth at high speed. "Let them go," President O ordered. "We have work to do." Dr. Kim was already preparing data packages containing the signal disruptor and genetic disruptor technologies. "Where should we send these?" "Everywhere," President O replied. "Every species in Coalition space deserves the chance to protect itself." As Earth's communication arrays began broadcasting the weapon specifications across the galaxy, General Kang looked at the debris field where 3 Devourers had died. "That was almost too easy," he said, "because they never expected anyone to actually try to kill them," Admiral Chang replied. "They were designed to be invincible against species trained not to fight back." The galaxy was about to learn that humans had never been trained not to fight back, and the Coalition was about to discover what happened when their carefully controlled system met a species that solved problems instead of managing them. Communications Officer Lee Junho had never seen anything like it. His screens were filled with incoming messages from across the galaxy. Every few minutes, another alien species was trying to contact Earth. "General Kang, you need to see this," he called out. General Kang walked over to the communication station. "What is it?" "We're getting messages from Coalition member worlds, hundreds of them. They all want the same thing. The weapon specifications? More than that, sir. They want military training. They want to learn how to fight." On the main display, alien faces from dozens of different species appeared. Some had scales, others had fur, and a few looked like they were made of crystal. But they all had the same expression: hope. "This is Commander Thek of the Zephyrian Defense Force," one of them said. "We have used your disruptor technology to destroy a devourer that was heading for our homeworld. Our people are celebrating in the streets. Can you teach us more?" Another alien appeared on a different channel. "I am Captain Horan of the Stellar Republic. We have broken free from Coalition protection. 3 of our neighboring species want to join us. We need military advisors. Ambassador Kim Minji, Earth's new representative to the galaxy, was trying to keep up with all the requests. We have formal applications for alliance from 47 different species. 12 more have declared independence from the coalition. President O watched the reports flowing in from across the galaxy. The coalition's carefully controlled system was falling apart faster than anyone had imagined. Dr. Yoon Seojin, who had been studying the captured Devourer remains, made an announcement. That surprised everyone. I've found something important in the bioship wreckage. The Devourers weren't just weapons. They were also collection systems. Collection systems for what? President O asked. Resources. Food, metals, energy, biological samples. Everything they consumed was processed and stored in internal chambers. Then it was transmitted to Coalition core worlds through quantum communication arrays. The room fell silent as the implications became clear. The Coalition wasn't just controlling the Devourers, General Kang realized. They were using them to steal resources from the entire galaxy. Every world that got attacked lost 40% of its resources to protection fees, Dr. Yoon continued. But the worlds that got consumed lost 100% to direct harvesting. The Coalition was stealing from everyone. Admiral Chang looked at the strategic display showing Coalition territory. No wonder their core worlds are so advanced. They've been robbing the galaxy for thousands of years. The Coalition's response to the growing rebellion was predictable. Ambassador Veltar appeared on Earth's communication channels, but this time, he wasn't alone. Dozens of Coalition military commanders surrounded him. The Galactic Coalition demands the immediate surrender of all disruptor technology, Veltar announced. Species that refuse to return to Coalition protection will be classified as hostile and dealt with accordingly. President O stepped forward to respond. The galaxy has seen what your protection really means. We reject your demands. Then you have chosen war, the cat-like alien said. Coalition forces are moving to restore order. Good, Admiral Chang replied. It's time the galaxy saw what you look like without your pet monsters to hide behind. The first test came 3 days later. The Korthax Republic, one of the first species to declare independence, was attacked by a Coalition enforcement fleet. But instead of facing a helpless civilian population, the Coalition ships encountered a species trained in human military doctrine and armed with unrestricted weapons. General Wan Hyok watched the battle through long-range sensors. The Korthax are using our tactics perfectly. Concentrated fire, no retreat, complete destruction of enemy forces. The Coalition fleet, designed for intimidation rather than actual combat, was destroyed in less than an hour. News of the victory spread across the galaxy within minutes. More species began declaring independence. The Altarian Collective, the Nexus Federation, the Crystal Worlds Alliance. Each one used human-provided technology and training to defeat. Coalition Enforcement Fleet's Dr. Shin Mirai, Earth's intelligence director, reported on the Coalition's growing desperation. They're recalling forces from across the galaxy to protect their core worlds. Member species that haven't rebelled yet are starting to ask why they need so much protection if the Coalition is so powerful. Ambassador Veltar made one final offer to Earth. This time, his image appeared with clear signs of stress. His tentacles twitched constantly, and his 4 eyes couldn't seem to focus properly. We offer humanity full partnership in the Coalition, he said. Equal status, shared control of galactic policy, unlimited access to our resources. Join us, and we can restore order together. President O didn't hesitate. We don't manage order. We eliminate threats. You are a threat. You are making a terrible mistake, Veltar warned. Without the Coalition, the galaxy will tear itself apart. Director Shin smiled. The galaxy managed just fine before you showed up with your protection racket. It will manage even better without you. The end came faster than anyone expected. A coalition of 43 independent species, trained by human military advisors and armed with unrestricted technology, launched a coordinated assault on Coalition core worlds. Captain Kim Dae-hyun led the human contingent of the Liberation Fleet. As Earth's ships approached the Coalition capital world, he opened a communication channel to the planet below. "This is Captain Kim Dae-hyun of the Earth Defense Force. The Galactic Coalition is hereby dissolved. Your crimes against the galaxy are ended. Surrender now, and you will be treated according to the laws of civilized warfare." The response came from Ambassador Veltar, broadcasting from the planet's surface. "You cannot do this. The Coalition has maintained galactic peace for 5,000 years. "You maintained galactic slavery for 5,000 years, Captain Kim replied. "Today, that ends. The battle was brief and decisive. Coalition forces, designed to intimidate rather than fight, collapsed when faced with species that fought to win. Within hours, the Coalition government surrendered unconditionally. In the aftermath, representatives from dozens of species gathered on Earth to form a new galactic alliance. But this time, the alliance was based on cooperation rather than protection, on mutual defense rather than managed dependency. President O addressed the gathered representatives in the United Nations building. The old galaxy was based on fear. The Coalition kept you afraid so they could control you. The new galaxy will be based on strength. We will teach any species that wants to learn how to protect itself." Ambassador Kim Min-ji, now Earth's representative, to the new Galactic Defense Alliance presented the organization's founding principles. "No species will be required to contribute resources for protection. No species will be forbidden from developing advanced weapons. No species will be kept helpless in the name of peace." Dr. Park Min-ho, studying the genetic records recovered from Coalition facilities, made one final discovery that explained everything. The Coalition didn't just create the Devourers, they created the fear of the Devourers. For 5,000 years, they've been using managed terror to control every species in the galaxy. "Except humans," General Kang noted. "Except humans," Dr. Park agreed. "Because humans respond to terror by getting angry. And angry humans are dangerous humans." Captain Kim Dae-hyun, back on Earth after the Coalition's surrender, reflected on the irony of the situation. The aliens had come to Earth offering protection from a threat they themselves controlled. They had expected humans to be grateful for the offer. Instead, humans had asked one simple question: protection from whom? That question had brought down the largest empire in galactic history. As Earth's ships patrolled the former Coalition space, ensuring that the new alliance remained free and strong, Captain Kim smiled. The galaxy had learned an important lesson about humanity. Humans didn't accept threats. They eliminated them, and they didn't ask for permission to survive. They just did whatever was necessary to make sure survival was permanent. The Coalition had offered Earth protection. Humans had laughed and asked, from whom? Now the galaxy knew the answer: from no one. Humans protected themselves, and they were very good at it.